Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the proposed tax levy hearing for 2022 to order. Ms. Henry.
Dr. Wright. Dr. Wright.
Here.
Ms. Hogan.
Here.
Ms. Sonier.
Present.
Ms. Val.
Here.
Ms. Jones.
Here.
Ms. Cousins.
Here.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to our CFO, Ms. Banks.
Thank you. Well, we are here today I'm here to propose the 2022 tax rates for the year. Obviously, the board sets the rates every year that generates the revenues that the districts need for the general operating budget and also for the debt service budget. We need to set it every year, and if we don't set the rate, we are only allowed to tax for the debt levy in order to pay for the interest and principal on our outstanding debt. We receive the assessed valuations from the assessor's office, and we must turn in the approved rate by October 1st. So the assessed valuations come in several different categories, and on the screen we have really what the assessed valuations have been over the past 3 years, including 2022. You can see that the assessed valuations have increased continuously, and in particular for 2022, they have increased by $118 million or 2.6% over 2021. And you can see that the largest increase is in the category of personal property. The operating tax rate is determined based on the adjusted assessed valuations. And that's what this screen really goes over. The adjusted assessed valuations do not include new construction and improvement, which you can see that's highlighted in the 2022 column, approximately $210 million. There is a maximum amount that the district can collect in new revenue, and it is the lesser of the increase in the adjusted assessed valuation, 5%, or the CPI, which is 7%. You can see that the adjusted assessed valuations are actually down 2% this year. So based on that information, we are proposing a decrease in the operating rate to $4.25 per $100 of assessed valuation and no change in the debt rate. So the 4.25 is the operating rate, which is basically our GOB property tax revenues. And we are proposing a voluntary reduction in that rate based on what is allowed by the state auditor by about 23 cents. So in total, we are proposing $4.8711 per $100 of assessed valuation, which is about 8 cents, an 8-cent decrease from the prior year. Here we have a 5-year view of our operating and debt rates. You can see that in total, they're about $5. As you know, that the debt rate, which is used to pay the principal and interest on our outstanding bonds, which will include our new Prop S bonds, and the rate has not changed as we have made a commitment to having no tax rate increase in our debt levy of 6211. So the impact of our proposed tax levy. For the current year, the 4.8 we will receive approximately $230 million in revenue, about $200 million in the operating rate, and about $29 million in the debt rate. The assessed valuations of the TIFs have actually decreased this year as compared to last year. You can see that in red, about $377 million in assessed valuation for our TIFs. So the TIF impact is a little over $18 million for the year. So what is the impact on a homeowner based on our proposed tax levy? Well, if we assume that you have a home that is valued at $100,000, a residential home is assessed at 19% of the market value. So you take that 19% times 100,000, your assessed value is 19,000, multiply it by, or divide it by 100, excuse me, to get 190. Multiply that by the proposed tax rate, and the homeowner's taxes would be approximately $925 that would go to the district. Now, the district, there are other taxing districts, but St. Louis Public Schools represents about 60% of the taxing districts. So in summary, I am recommending to the board that you approve the proposed rates of 4.25 for the operating rate and the 0.6211 for the debt rate for 2022. Again, this must be approved and forwarded to the assessor and on to the state auditor by October 1st. So I'm requesting your approval tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. Before we get to any questions from the board, this is a public hearing. I don't see any members of the public present. If there are, please make yourself known if you have anything to say. Otherwise, are there questions from the board? Seeing none, can we get a motion to approve? Oh, so Dr. Wright has moved the approval of the resolution to set the tax rate as Ms. Banks has set forth. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Henry?
Dr. Wright,
Yes.
Ms. Hogan.
Yes.
Ms. Sonia,
Yes.
Ms. Fowl,
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I move to adjourn this hearing. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you all very much. We will resume with our work session at 6:30.